This movie made me ponder my existence and the meaning of life, and I did not expect that from a 19th century set Macedonian witch film. Also, this movie gave me the line dressing in corpses. One character says to another character, "You are dressing in corpses." And that's one of the best lines in horror I've ever heard. I don't know if when I read books, if I hear a line that I really like, I write it down because I've just got a sticky note of all these lines that I really love. Nerd! That line is poetry, just like this movie. If you're a metal band and you don't have a name, dressing in corpses, there's your name. That's done. This movie is wonderful. What a goddamn film. If you follow this channel for a while, you'll know that I love folk horror. I also really like witch films. This movie is one of the best movies that sits in the middle of that Venn diagram. Okay? Shout out to Jurgen Zabugan. I'm sorry if that's not how you pronounce your YouTube name. It's toughy. But they chucked this into my watch list because they are part of as part of the SpookieKnights community call out. And it's a stone cold banger. God damn, I'm so glad I watched this film. It was bleak and it was beautiful and it was artistic, and I just loved it. I really, really, really loved this film. Alongside Pihu, which is another movie that I watched because of the SpookieKnights community call out, it would make the ultimate parents' nightmare double bill because both films have a lot of scenes about harming kids to be like a fucking nightmare. Really, some really intense moments in this movie. And if I will do another SpookieKnights community call out. So if you do want a film reviewed on the channel that is thriller or horror, subscribe, follow along. So next time I put up the post about it, you can comment your film. Because I enjoyed the fuck out of this. This knocked 3 movies off my watch list that I've been meaning to watch. So more of that. I'll probably do it every month. So follow along for that. But this movie is a movie that made me feel smarter for watching it. And I don't mean in a wanky film buff way where it's like, oh, I'm smarter than you because I watched this movie. That's not what I'm talking about. This isn't like, oh, I understood Tenet and you didn't, you fucking idiot. That's not what I'm talking about. This movie is so creative and artistic and clever that I feel like if this was an RPG, I would have gained a point in emotional intelligence from watching it because it made me consider so many different things from so many different perspectives in a historical context and not. This is a really, really well done film, and I will be thinking about this film for a long time to come. Set in 19th century rural Macedonia, You Won't Be Alone follows the many lives of Novina. Novina is rendered mute due to a run-in with a witch called Old Maid Maria. Her mother basically promised Old Maid Maria that she could have Novina as a servant when she turned 16. She did that so that the witch wouldn't take Novina or kill Novina as a child. So that she then goes back on that promise and hides Novina away in an isolated cave so that the witch can't find her. Old Maid Maria is what's called a wolf eateress, which is basically a shape-shifting witch. And after the death of Novina's mother, Old Maid Maria basically takes Novina under her wing and turns her into a wolf eateress herself. From there, we basically get to watch as Novina tries to survive, adapt, and fit in to rural 19th century Macedonia and the customs there, while being a completely emotionally and socially stunted person because she's been in a fucking cave for 16 years. You know, she's had no interaction with the outside world, and now she has unlimited access to the world around her. And it is a bleak, harrowing, and excellent look at how common and how heinous the suffering of women was in that period of time, and it was just baked into the culture. It's fucking brutal, this film, but it is brilliant. This is the definition of a slow burn movie, and I enjoyed every minute of it. Goran Stolevski, who wrote and directed this, is a Macedonian Australian guy. He lived in Macedonia for 12 years and then moved to Australia. And it's very clear that he is really fascinated by the inner workings of and the cultural customs of historical Macedon. And everything is shot with such reverence, while he's very obviously still clearly critiquing how the society worked. It's Robert Eggers style. It's Robert Eggers style shooting, right? They have such love for the subject, even though they don't agree with the subject, and it's a critique on the subject. I say this all the time, but there are multiple scenes in this movie that would make great desktop wallpapers. They are so beautiful, and they made me want to go to Serbia, which is not a feeling I get often, but this made me want to travel there. It just looks stunning. So Sara Klimoska and Noomi Rapace. Most of you will know Rapace from the Millennium series. You know, the girl who kicked the hornet's nest, the girl who played with fire. Yes, she's in this. She's phenomenal. And they both play Navina at different stages of her life. And as a character, I loved her. I loved Navina. She had the roughest start to life, and it was no fault of her own. I just instantly was on her side. There are so many brief moments of humanity where she's trying to fit in and she's trying to learn a new skill, and then she finally does it, and you're like, yes, like I had the biggest grin on my face for those very brief moments. Even though she's this powerful witch with these tremendous powers, she still feels like the most vulnerable person in every scene, which is amazing writing, right? Like, think about that. She's like almost superhero, and you're still like, oh, well, you need to be protected. I hope everything's okay with you. You know, that's phenomenal writing. And especially since she has to do a lot of horrible things to survive, right? She's a witch, but because she's doing all this stuff to just get by, you sort of you're like, oh, that's okay. I still love you a little bit. Anamaria Marinca puts in a wonderfully sinister performance as Old Maid Maria. Even though she's this tremendously powerful, awful being that everyone's scared of, you still sympathize with her because, like most people in this movie, it's fucked up. Where they are is fucked up. They are victims of circumstance. So, you know, this entire movie is about people being wronged by the time and the place and the social customs. And that means you don't instantly hate them. Or at least I didn't instantly hate them. And it was the same for Old Maid Maria, even though she's fucking awful. The body horror in this is phenomenal, and it goes so well with the lore. They don't over-explain how everything works and over-explain things. Explain the scary ways, how I like to say it. But once you work out what the shape-shifting mechanism is, it's fucking gross. It's so gross. This might be the most body horror witch film I've ever seen. There's a lot of... But it is good. It's good body horror, and it makes sense. There's a lot of artful offal in this movie. And the story is an absolute gut punch, right? Like, you love Navina. She seems to be doing well, and then something horrible happens, and then she has to do something horrible to survive. And it just keeps doing that over and over again. And it does give you hope, though. Like, it gives you enough hope to be like, oh, I hope you're going to be okay. I know you had to do that awful thing, but you're just trying to get by. And it just does that over and over and over again. You really want her to be okay. It doesn't matter the things she does or how many times, you know, like, there are some pretty fucked up scenes in this movie, but I was still on Navina's side the whole time. It's a really bleak movie, as most period pieces that deal with women's role in societies are. But it gives you hope. It gives you hope. And I even found myself laughing at points, which on paper, that shouldn't work. Given everything I've just said above, that shouldn't work. But I couldn't help it. The tone of this is as masterful as it is experimental. And I fucking love this movie. The only issue I see people having with this film is that it is slow burn. It is a slow movie. It is slow art house period piece. So if any of those words make you want to bounce off the film, probably don't go in, right? Like, it's really good at all of those, but I understand that's not everyone's bag. It's definitely mine. That being said, if you like stellar cinematography, dark, disturbing storylines, period pieces, and witches, this ticks all those boxes in one, and it's one of the best to ever do it. It's definitely worth your time. I recommend watching this if you like historical horror. It's a fucking period piece. What do you want? I love historical horror. I know some people hate it. I love it. This is a great one. If you don't mind a slow burn, as long as the subject is fascinating, this kept my attention the whole way through. I didn't find myself checking the time or going like, oh, how much runtime's left? None of that. I was in from the get-go. If you like witch and folk horror movies, this is the witchiest folk horror movie, one of the witchiest folk horror movies ever. It feels like it was shot in the time it's set. I don't recommend watching this if you want a big scare fest. This is not scary. It's fucking haunting, but it is not scary. If you want like a big time action horror, lots of balls to the wall action, this ain't it. Go watch Upgrade. It's a great movie. But this is not for you. If you hate gore, this has lots of artful offal in it, like I said, but it's really well done. But it is fucking gory. There's lots of gross scenes in this movie, lots of body horror. If you like this movie and you're looking for another movie with a similar vibe and theme, I highly recommend The Devil's Bath. It was made by Veronica Franz and Severin Filler, so you know it's going to be a barrel of laughs. I'm fucking kidding. If you've ever seen that, they made Goodnight Mummy and The Lodge. If you've seen those movies, you know they make fucked movies. This is no exception. Like You Won't Be Alone, it's a period piece that studies the horrors that were inflicted upon women daily in basically historical times because of their role in society. It's set in Germany or Austria in the 1700s, and it's about a newlywed named Agnes. As is tradition, she has to move to her husband's like rural family homestead, and it's quite a change for her. It's really harsh. The survival is really harsh. She has to do all these awful jobs, and as her mental health takes a dip, they, because of all the superstition around that sort of time, her husband and her husband's family start doing all these like medical interventions on her that ramp up in severity as she gets more mentally unwell. It's really sad, it's really depressing, and it's fucking excellent. It's one of the best things I've seen last year. And if you like You Won't Be Alone, it's a little bit darker than You Won't Be Alone, but it is very, very good, so I highly recommend it. That's it. If you want to be a part of the next Spooky Nights community call out and get your movie reviewed, subscribe and follow along, because I'll post a video or a community post with it. And who knows, if your movie gets picked, I will do a review basically just on whatever the fuck movie you want. Other than that, I'll see you next week for another review. Peace.